The most common goal for agency owners is to reach 10K per month or just hit that 6-figure status. I've done it, I've been there myself, that was my initial goal. But unfortunately, a lot of you are not ever going to get to that place. Now, this could be down to the amount of opportunity that you have, because unfortunately, not everyone has the same amount of opportunity. But that being said, I have actually witnessed businesses thrive who have come from a background of little to no opportunity, and I've seen people that have tons of opportunity and just cannot get their business to move. So often it can be a matter of circumstance, but ultimately it can come down to something else. So in this video, what we're going to be covering is 4 things that I see a lot of agency owners doing that is stopping them from reaching their goals. Now, the reason why I'm putting this video together is to hopefully help you. Now, I've had countless people reach out to me saying that they need some help, they need some advice, they've watched my YouTube content, but everything that they're doing just doesn't seem to work. And actually more recently, I've had 2 individual people reach out to me with a very similar problem, just saying, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm trying all of the methods, all of the tricks, and nothing is working for me. So I just want to break this video down into 4 key things that I see people getting wrong, that if this is you, you need to start thinking about this and getting this right. Because if you don't, unfortunately, no matter your circumstance, you're not going to have a successful web, digital, SMMA, any type of agency. So yeah, I just want to kind of on the record just deliver this, and hopefully you'll all take some inspiration and some help and be able to start pushing yourself in the right direction to start reaching your goals, whatever they may be. Okay, so let's kick this off with the first thing that I see people doing wrong, and that is focusing on unimportant tasks. Now, a lot of you starting an agency believe that you need to have everything figured out. You need to have your logo done, you need to have a website, or trying to be a pro at website design, SEO, paid ads, whatever service it is that you're looking to offer. Like, you're getting hung up on very unimportant things. Now, at some point, you're going to need those things within your business, but immediately when getting started, you need to focus on what really does matter, and that is signing up new clients. And actually, you can really achieve those things without a flashy logo, without a website, and even not having a really super in-depth knowledge of the service that you are offering. Ultimately, you just need to understand enough that trumps the person that you are speaking to. If you just understand a little bit more than they do, then you are always going to be the expert in that scenario, and that's what they are paying you for. Ultimately, once you have signed up a customer, you can then start digging deep and figuring out what it is that you need to do in order to deliver the result that you've promised. Okay, it's kind of like learning on the job. When getting started in your agency and starting to reach those early goals of, say, 10K per month, okay, you really need to be focusing on tasks that are productive, like moving the needle forward. Things like outreach. Like, outreach is the most important task within your business, and that's what you should spend a lot of your time, energy and effort on doing. You want to make sure that you're not tricking yourself into feeling busy or being productive. Okay, you want to be focusing on things like outreach, the somewhat considered boring tasks which are actually going to help you sign up customers and reach your goals. So that then brings me on nicely to the next point, which is I see people not doing outreach, or at least not doing enough outreach. So a key part to having a successful agency is the ability to be able to outreach. Okay, and you need to be able to do this consistently. Now, one of the problems that I see with people when it comes to outreach is task avoiding or not doing things that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, because ultimately, if you're new to business and you start reaching out to customers, it can be a very scary, daunting thing. And honestly, it doesn't matter what way that you are reaching out to them. A lot of people do feel anxious and nervous to get that job done. And all I can say to that is you just need to get started. Okay, it's never going to get any easier unless you get started. And once you do get started, it does get easier. No matter if you are cold calling, if you are DMing a prospect on social media, whether you are reaching out to a business owner via email. Okay, if it feels daunting, trust me, it does get easier. But in order to have a successful business, you're going to need to overcome any fears or anxiety that you have with that and just get started. I've spoken to people who have started their agency, let's say, and they've been doing it for 1, 2, 3 months and still have not reached out to a business because they are focusing on my last point, which is making sure their website's online or making sure that they are skilled up to the teeth in a subject that they are looking to offer. Now, honestly, it doesn't matter how clever you are at a subject, you're never going to be able to service that if you do not sign customers up. So that's why outreach is super important. And you need to be making sure that you are reaching out to at least 10 businesses each day. Like, you've got time to reach out to 10, 20, even 30 businesses each and every day via phone, email or direct message, whatever that may be. It could be all three. The more that you can do, the chances of your success is going to be a lot higher. When it comes to outreach as well, you need to make sure that you're reaching out via the right platforms, okay? And this sounds silly, but I've actually witnessed people, for example, reaching out to dentists on Facebook or Instagram, when in fact, LinkedIn would be a much better profile for them. Or they've been reaching out to the likes of gym owners or e-commerce fashion brands via LinkedIn, okay? That's probably not where they're going to be hanging out. Those types of people are more likely going to be on Instagram. So my point here is you need to make sure that you understand the types of people that you're reaching out to and where they are most likely going to be hanging out. Okay, so my point for this section is just making sure that you are working on tasks that are going to push the needle forward, aka doing the outreach, because you're never going to sign up new business if you never do the outreach. So make sure that you get the outreach done and you're hitting the right numbers each and every single day, okay, consistency. Make sure you hit the numbers each and every day when it comes to outreach. Okay, so the next thing that I witness people doing wrong, and hopefully you're not doing this as well, is copying other people's approaches. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with copying when you are changing things and you are using it to be inspired. But what I'm talking about here is copying something like for like. Okay, now on this channel, I have shared my strategies, my approaches, some of the messaging that I've used, some email scripts. Okay, but my intention has never been for you to just go and copy it word for word, because ultimately what happens is if everyone is copying things, then the more of that begins to exist within the ecosystem, and then everybody's reaching out to the businesses with exactly the same message or kind of very slight nuances of that message. All right, and what you want to be doing is just use it as inspiration, understand what people are saying, how emails, scripts, calls, whatever it might be, strategies, just understand how they are structured, and then you can start to build your own structure that works for you. Now, I know a lot of you are so desperately looking for a solution, and that's absolutely fine, but just make sure that you're not going down the route of just lifting what someone else has done, like word for word, okay, like for like. Just don't do it, because ultimately if you are all doing that and you're in a similar niche, the prospect's going to get hit with the same message and your email's just going to end up in the bin. So you essentially need to find a way to stand out and differentiate yourself. The better that you can do that, the better response rate that you're going to have no matter what your outreach strategy is. And that way you're going to sign up clients a lot easier than those that are just copying from others. Copying is not always a bad thing. Just try not to copy things word for word. Try and use it as inspiration. Be inspired by what people have done before you and use that. Let's not forget that the digital marketing space just changes so rapidly, whether it's based on the services that you offer or the systems or strategies or approaches that we use as an agency to reach out to customers. Things that worked 3 years ago, they don't work today. So if you are enrolled in a course from 3 years ago, or if you are watching content, even on this channel from 3 years ago, there is a small chance that what was shown in that video perhaps just still doesn't work today. Okay, so I just need you to be mindful of that. Don't copy things word for word, like for like. It's not just a straight copy and paste. Use it to be inspired. Now, the final problem that I see with people unable to reach their goals is essentially not setting realistic goals, or not setting any goals at all. Now, goals are great because they guide us, they give us motivation, they kind of lead us down a path and motivate us to keep working towards what it is we're striving for. Now, if you're not setting goals, you're never going to get to where you want to be because you have nothing that you are striving for or aiming for. Okay, so the chances of you having a goal is already pretty high, whether that is defined or whether it's just inside your head. You will have something currently motivating you. Now, the chances are it's money. At the start of this video, I said that the most common goal for agency owners is to reach that 10K mark. Okay, so if that is your goal, that is fine. You just need to focus on how to get there. The problem that I see is people get so fixated on trying to reach that 10K goal before they've even reached a 1K goal or even signed up their first client. Now, if you have the goal to reach 10K and you can't even sign up a client, that's going to be so disheartening. It's going to knock your confidence and it's going to make you feel inadequate. And ultimately, that's when you're going to start doubting yourself, and that's when you are really going to be struggling. Okay, so instead, what I recommend you do is create micro goals or things, very small things that you can do, which will eventually get you to your larger goal of, say, 10K. Like, for example, when it comes to outreach, making sure that your goal is reaching out to at least 10 businesses every single day. Okay, if you can start nailing that and you hit that goal, you could then set a goal of speaking to 2 to 5 new business owners every single week. Okay, that could be a very achievable goal. And once you've reached that micro goal, you could then set a new micro goal of closing doing 1 in 10 businesses, for example, that's a very low close rate. And if you're new to sales, that's absolutely achievable. But ultimately, if you start setting these micro goals like what I've just laid out, then eventually you are going to hit that 10K, because you're going to sign up a customer, earn $1, $2, $3, $4, $5,000, £5,000 within that sale, depending on the service that you're offering. And then you can start closing more, upping your volume, building your confidence, and 10K is going to be here before you know it. Now, if this resonates with you, like, I completely get it, because it does resonate with me as well. When I got started, I really wanted to hit 10K per month, okay? I was consuming content around agency owners having a 6-figure agency, and that's originally what I was striving for. And actually, in order to do that, I knew that there was a few things I needed to fix first. I had no idea how to sell, okay? I never came from a sales-based background, so I knew that I needed to focus on that first. Now, in order to be able to sell, I needed to book meetings and start speaking to people. In order to start booking meetings and speaking to people, I had to do the outreach. So I had to focus on outreach first. I had to start exploring different ways to outreach to people that I was comfortable with. So I initially used email and direct messaging. I also used Upwork as a platform to reach out to customers. It wasn't until later down the line, when I built my confidence, I then started implementing a little bit of cold calling. Now, I would have never been able to reach the goal of hitting 10K per month if I didn't fix those things first, okay? So this kind of is a nice summary to everything that I've spoken about so far. Is like, set realistic goals, focus on things that you're not very good at that's going to push the needle forward. Focus on your outreach. Make sure that the outreach in your business is the key thing that you do every single day. It's the consistent task that you get done every single day within your business. All right? Honestly, be so strict that if there's anything you're going to do every single day, it is to send 10 emails, it's to make 10 phone calls, or have X amount of sales calls booked in this week. Like, make that your goal, and the goal of perhaps hitting 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, having a 6-figure agency, having a multiple 6-figure agency, whatever your goal is, if you focus on these small things, you will eventually get there. But just make sure that outreach is the most important thing. One thing that people don't speak about too much when it comes to having an agency, and this was something that I was completely unaware of when I started, was having an agency is like having a sales job. Okay, you are a salesman within your own business, and you are selling the service that you are either delivering yourself, or you are building a team to deliver for you. Okay, it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, but ultimately you need to create some little goals, create some targets, and start hitting them when it starts coming to outreach. Because if you can just fix that within your business, if you can focus on that, if you can hit your targets and stay consistent and stay resilient, because you're not always going to get yeses, you're not always going to get sales calls booked in, okay? But you need to stay consistent and resilient and make sure that you are doing all of your outreach. And I promise you, eventually you will get there, no matter your circumstance. As long as you stay consistent and resilient with your outreach, you will start booking sales calls, you will start booking meetings, and you will start signing up clients. So hopefully you found this whole video valuable. Hopefully it's given you some inspiration, some motivation to just stay consistent and make sure that you are working towards hitting your goals. Because if you don't, ultimately you are not going to get to where you want to be. I know it sucks, but ultimately there's a lot of people out there that just are not successful with building their own business for whatever reason. And the chances are it's one of these things that I've listed out in this video already. So make sure that you are fixing that. And that's it from me. There is an end screen coming up with more videos. Make sure that you click either one of those. They're going to be valuable to you. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.